Put down your baby and pick up a beer. Dad Jokes is back with a brand new episode. I'm Jerry, joined here by Brandon. And Brandon, I'm in a brand new location. I feel like we're recording on remote, but it's not remote. It's just my new home. I'm finally all moved in, so I'm in a new. You got a different background for the first time since we've been doing this podcast.
Clean, white. It looks freshly painted, Jerry. It looks great. The couch looks new.
It's
the
actually
mic stand in front of you a little bit longer looking. I don't know.
It's a gray, not a white, as my wife will tell you. But no, it is new location. We're all moved in. That's actually the topic we're going to talk about here today, is moving in general with children and what that entails and what you might want to look out for. But for those of you who haven't listened to us before, this is a podcast of two first-time dads going through the journey of fatherhood with you listening. And Brandon, as we kind of mentioned a few weeks ago, you obviously have a 1-year-old. I have a 1-year-old. And then we found out not too long ago that we got baby number 2 on the way. But one thing we haven't done on this show, Brandon, is we have not revealed what baby number 2 is.
Does that mean you're about to tell him, Jerry?
It might mean this. But actually, before we do that, I'll give a little suspense. Because when we announced baby number 2, we did it right away. But I will give a little bit of a story. So basically, baby number 1, we didn't find out what we were having. We waited to the very end. I thought it was a boy. Macy thought it was a boy. The doctor pulled Peyton out. Her butt was to me. And Macy looks at me and goes, "What is it?" And I said, "I don't know," because I didn't know. The doctor turned her around, and I was like, "It's a girl." This time, we decided we were going to find out. And it was kind of weird because we thought we were going to find out pretty early, but because of some changes with the doctors we've had to see and going through a different experience this time, it actually took a while until we were able to do the genetic testing. So instead of at like 10 or 12 weeks like some people do, we had to wait a little bit longer. So we do the genetic testing and they tell you it can be, I think it's like 3 to 5 business days or something like that until you get your results or something like that. I don't know. And so anyways, one day I get home from work and Macy's like, "I think we got the results," right? So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm excited. I really haven't been thinking about it too much. But yeah, so she tells me we have it. And she sets up a video as we're going to go through the results, right? So we can see our reaction because neither one of us knows, right? Macy thinks it's a boy. I think it's a girl. That's what we think going in. And and I don't know, Brandon, you guys did genetic testing before, but I'm expecting it to be like a bunch of different data and be very scientific, right? And I'm expecting gender to be at the bottom, and then not to tell you like boy or girl, but I'm expecting it to be like XY chromosome or specimen is that, you know what I mean? Like something like where you got to like almost like think about like what is it saying? But I kid you not, it's like the very first thing is like sex, and then it says what it is. Oh, yeah. So
people accidentally find out when they don't want to because of that.
Yeah. It's like super anticlimactic, and it was just kind of funny because it was almost like you couldn't get excited in the moment because it was like, wait a minute, is that it? Like, it was weird. I almost thought. So, anyways, long story short,
you wanted them to tell you a story. You wanted it to be like 3-4 paragraphs.
Correct, I did. Yeah,
at the very
I wanted to be the very bottom, like suspense building, and no, it was boom off the get,
all black and white, and then a blue or pink word at the end of it.
Yeah, I wanted like a little present to open and confetti to come out and tell me what it is. But nope, it says very first thing we see. And Brandon, as you already know, but as we're going to tell everyone here today, we are having another girl. So I will continue being #GirlDad. Yep. So we're very, very excited about that. The funny part too, to continue that story, is it said gender female. And at first I thought like, oh, it's talking about Macy. Right? Because he was like, she took the test. And then Macy's like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so like, it caught me off guard. But yes, we are having another girl, which is very, very exciting because, one, they're going to be close in age, so they'll be kind of, really good friends, hopefully. But as you know, Brandon, everyone around us has boys. We have so many boys around us. So it will be nice because, not that we're not going to be around all our friends who have the boys and stuff, but now as they grow up, there's going to be 2 girls at least close in age at all times near each other. So it's not just the boys. So we're having 2 girls, which is exciting. But I will tell you, Brandon, and we've talked a little bit about this. When we found out it was a girl, we were both very excited and we told people, but the reactions and the comments I've gotten from people have been very strange. And I'm curious if any of our listeners have experienced this who've had 2 girls or 2 boys maybe. But I tell people, they're like, "Oh, did you guys find out?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're having a girl," and they're like, "Oh, so you're having a third?" It's like, what? Or they'll go, "Oh, were you hoping for a boy?" They don't congratulate you or say. It's just, it's weird. It's weird, and it's not everyone, but it's been a lot of people.
This is
so
why
it's been
people
kind
have
of an
middle
odd
child
experience.
syndrome.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been a little bit different, but we're very excited. I don't know why, but I had a really, the first time around, I honestly had no idea if Peyton was a boy or a girl. I just kind of started telling myself boy. But this time, I really believed it was going to be a girl. And Macy thought it was a boy. So he almost talked me out of it. But I'm like, no, I really think it's a girl. And so I kind of, in my head, it's been a girl since the beginning, and it is a girl. And I'm excited. I love being a girl dad. And I'm really excited to see the two of them together. I think that's fun. And then also, it's nice from a parent standpoint because we have lots of girl stuff. So, we can use a lot of the stuff we already have. So I'm excited. But yes, two girls, and we don't know the name 100% yet. Obviously, we're not telling anyone, but we also don't know. So we're not telling people because we also haven't 100% landed on one.
My biggest thing with that and the second child is always whatever the first one was, I wanted that of the second one. So secretly, I'm not secretly, I'm happy that happened for you guys. 'Cause I think that is cool just to have like two so close in age that really can relate to each other the entire time. The stuff you're talking about how people reacted though, I don't know how well I can handle that. And I was already like, it was absolutely no way that baby number one we weren't finding out as soon as we could. But I don't. I'm starting to feel like I might go opposite, and like I don't necessarily. I feel like I don't need to know. I can find out the day of and be fine.
That'd be cool.
So
it's cool. I won't lie to you, Brandon. I really, really enjoyed that. And this time around, I honestly thought I would really want to know, and I never got to that point. Even when we did the genetic testing, I was okay not knowing. I don't know why. Like I was almost calm, and my personality. I like to know things right away, and I have zero chill most of the time. But it was okay not knowing. So this time it's fun. It's good that we know now, because now in our head I can already start visualizing two girls and doing different activities and stuff, which is fun. But the experience of not knowing is unlike any other. Like I said, I'll never forget when the doctor pulled her out, and I literally was trying to find out what she was, and I'm like, it's a butt. I don't know, and a lot of hair. So
one thing you did say to me through the process is that how many times in life can you truly be surprised by something, and that's kind of always stuck with me. So we'll see what happens if we get lucky enough to have that opportunity again. But Jerry, we need to hit him with these jokes before we start.
We do.
And I don't know if you want to go first or you want me to go first, but I'm not losing this week. This joke is PG-15, and it's hilarious.
Ooh. Mine's not really. I mean, maybe kind of PG-13. You call it out, Brandon. You going to go first or second?
You know what? I'm gonna go first. That way you can think about how you need to find a new joke for the rest of the episode. So Jerry, why was Darth Vader referred to as Lord?
I don't know.
It's a Star Wars joke, Jerry. I know you're familiar with the franchise.
About father.
No. So why was Darth Vader referred to as Lord? Because calling him Master Vader made all the stormtroopers giggle.
That's good. That's a good one.
I know it's good.
I like that one.
I've been enjoying these PG. I'm good if I can like toe the line a little bit.
You can toe the line, yeah. You do well with that.
Jared,
what else has
Jared's
been going on, Brandon?
Comfortable now. I mean, honestly, this week for us has been pretty straightforward, and it's not been great. Bryce was, I think about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, started to get cold symptoms. Kind of your typical cold symptoms. We didn't even call a doctor. We just let's deal with it. Try to keep his temperature regulated. Use Tylenol and Motrin as needed. We feel like we're pros at this, right? So about a week goes by. He's feeling better. Like his nose is still running a lot, but he started eating again. He kind of was going through a hunger strike thing. Everything was fine. This weekend hits, and it's like he had everything he had before, and it's like triple as far as it is that much worse. So it's kind of frustrating because you think all you're doing when your kid's sick is waiting for them to start feeling better. They finally feel better, and then it changes really quickly. So it got to Monday, and he woke up, and it's just like it looks like if someone has very bad allergies and their eyes are puffy, his eyes are puffy, nose is puffy. He was miserable. So Kelsey called the doctor, and they said basically, let's take a look at him. So goes to the doctor, and his ear is actually red and inflamed, and he always kind of does his ear touch thing, and it wasn't anything like out of the normal, so we really didn't pay much attention to the ear. But he has teeth coming in, and like it's hindsight 2020. He would be reaching into his mouth, and I'm thinking he's like touching his teeth that are coming in. I think it was the ear as well. So he definitely had a cold, and he could have an ear infection. They didn't quite say he had ear infection, but she said it was red and puffy inside, like pretty bad. So I'll do the math on that. So he's with the good old amoxicillin, the pink medicine. And after 2 days on that, you can tell a very appreciable difference in him. So his nose is still running, but he's turning back into the same lovable kid that we've grown to know. But other than that, I mean, it's been a snotty week, and Lord have mercy, I feel like we need to disinfect every surface of our house because those noses run, and they wipe it anywhere. I feel like. I know people love that visual. What you guys been up to?
Well, obviously the big move was a big majority of what's been going on with us. Yep. But in other big news, we've been talking for a while about how Peyton loves to stand, loves to move, but does not want to walk. She's taken steps. January 1st was actually when she took her first few steps. She's taken 4, 5, 6. But this week, Brandon, I think we can officially say we got a walker on our hands because she's been taking 9, 10. Yep, 9, 10
this
steps.
This is an exciting episode in the Oleski house.
I know. It is big. The funny part is so she's been taking a bunch of steps, and she's been doing it herself, and she'll walk to things, and she'll like I said, she takes a bunch of steps, she'll move sideways, does it all, but then she'll go through parts of the day where she wants nothing to do with it again. And she'll walk everywhere on her knees. That's her new thing. She walks on her knees most of the time, all over the house. Not crawls, but literally walks on her knees. And I'm like, what? I know you can walk now. We just saw you take 15 steps. Now you're just being lazy. I don't know.
She's not on your time.
Correct. So yesterday she didn't want to walk a lot, and I'm like, great. Now we're gonna revert back. But then today, when I got home, she was walking a bunch, and not prompted. I think that's the thing with her is as long as you don't push her to do it, she's good. But the second you want her to do it, she's out on it still. So we'll see. But now we definitely got a walker on her hand, so that's kind of cool. And then, like I said, she's been taking steps since January, but we have not been able to get it on video because every time she does, she gets camera shy. But Macy finally got it on video, so that was kind of cool too because she's been doing it so much and for so long now that it's not that difficult. But she did get it on video, so it's kind of cool because it's man, she's taken 100 steps and we've gotten 0 of them on camera. So it was kind of a parent fail, but it just kept happening where we couldn't get our camera out fast enough. So that's exciting. That's a big news. She's also got 2 molars coming in, and I don't know if that's contributing or the dreaded leap because I looked it up, and yep, she's in the middle of a leap because of course she is. But she's been a little bit cranky this last week. We also moved, like I said, so it could be something attributed with that. But she's just been kind of in this stage where if she doesn't get what she wants, or if you're not right near her, she's just cranky. Now, today she was great, actually. But yesterday, man, I swear I got home and she was probably cried the most she's cried in 5, 6 months. She was just crying. It just didn't matter what you did. She was just cranky. So I don't know if it was the teeth, everything going on, lack of sleep, or what it was. But she's been sleeping pretty good in the new house. She has a big girl room. Her room's one of the larger ones in the new house, and she absolutely loves it. So she's been playing a lot in her new house, so that's fun. And it's been a good week. The moving's a lot with the kid for sure, but it's been a good week for us. So I can't complain any, Brandon.
Well, I'm interested in this. You mentioned this week's topic is moving. I got a bunch of little tips that through my research I found, and I'm interested to see how our lists correlate and what you may or may not disagree with.
For sure. But before we get to that, what baby gear do you have to share with the listeners today?
So, from a baby gear perspective, it's actually a book or a set of books if you want to buy multiple, and they're the polka dot books. We're basically you so they have little pop like plastic pop bubbles on them, but you have like a story. One of Bryce's favorite is Old MacDonald has a farm, or Old MacDonald's farm. It's literally the nursery rhyme in the book, but it teaches them to count. So you have little plastic bubbles that they can pop, and Old MacDonald has 10 chickens, and you got to pop all 10 chickens, and it goes down to one, like rooster or something like that. But for a bedtime story, especially for dad, it's very helpful because it distracts Bryce. It's something he knows, and every day we're going through the process of counting as well, which I believe are going to have it's going to help long term as far as him learning how to do that. But the other thing is, it's the distraction of the book helps when mom is leaving the room and dad's trying to put him to bed, because he has an extreme attachment to mom right now, to the point where if he's in one of his moods where he only wants her, she basically has to be the one that puts him to bed. And obviously you and I work long hours. There are days where I might be coming home, I might see him for like 30 minutes to an hour before we got to put him to bed. That little 5-10 minutes of cuddles are everything. Mm-hmm. So you don't necessarily want to get that up either. So that's definitely helped. We have a few different books. Old MacDonald, there's a 10 Little Monkeys one. They have an alphabet version as well. If you're looking for a quick little $10 book that may help distract your kid and also help them count or learn their ABC, stuff like that, check out Polka Dot. And allegedly they have a patent on it. I don't know.
Nice. Well, Brandon, I know you're not going to want to hear this, but actually something I didn't mention is probably for the last, I don't know, maybe 3-4 weeks, close to a month, Peyton has definitely gone through her biggest daddy stage. She is obsessed with dad lately, to the point where, like,
yeah, I don't want to hear that.
I trump mom. She wants to sit on dad's lap at all times. She loves giving hugs right now. She wants to give dad hugs. And she, like, don't get me wrong, she still likes mom. She still wants to be around mom too. But, like, if we're both there, she seems to prefer me right now, which is pretty great, because early on, she, like, I kind of won sometimes, but it was kind of like maybe 50-50, and I'd go through phases, she would. But then mom took over for a while. But this last month, I've been it's been a good stretch, because she's definitely a daddy's girl. Like, I came home from work today, I gave her a hug, and then I had to go change while my mom was watching her, and she started crying the second I walked out of the room. Which she used to do for Macy all the time, but she doesn't always do for dad. But now, like, yeah, if dad's around, she does not want dad to be away. So it's been pretty great. But one thing I did with Peyton today when I got home from work. What?
The problem with that for me is that's going to happen for me. I have no doubt. Me and Bryce are going to have like a great relationship, but it's going to happen when he's like 4, 5, 6. Like, once he realizes how cool I actually am, and he's not going to be cuddly anymore.
That's the good thing. So right now that I'm taking advantage of is yeah, because when they get older, even if they are, mom or dad, they're less cuddly. So right now she's super cuddly. I'm all about it.
He barely likes being picked up now.
One thing we did though, when my piece of baby gear, Brandon, when I got home from work, my mom for Christmas had bought Peyton something, and I put it together today, and she started playing with it, and that was the Step 2 Modern Cook Kitchen. It's one of the little play kitchens. And it was pretty easy to set up. It was kind of weird with some of the screws because you're like screwing into plastic and there's like no holes, but it didn't take me too long, probably half an hour to put together. And Peyton seemed to really like it. Yeah, exactly. She started to figure out the doors and how to put things away and was playing with it for probably 20, 30 minutes. So I'm sure she's going to have lots of fun with that. Kids seem to love those little kitchens. So that's put together. It's kind of a nice one because some of them are kind of, I don't want to say ugly, but they're kind of gaudy. And this one's kind of, it's like, I don't know. It looks good. It sounds bad, but it looks good.
I see you looking over to your left. Is it in the basement?
Yeah, it's in there. It's in the basement. So I'll have to show you later.
Does it fit the aesthetic?
It fits the aesthetic. It does. It does fit the aesthetic.
Okay.
The funniest thing about it, though, is it has
Macy.
some hooks on it that you can hang like utensils and like cups from. And I was doing that, and Peyton was not liking because she doesn't quite understand how to take it off the hook because you got to like lift it up and then pull it out. And she was not a fan of that. So I kept putting them on there, and she kept getting mad at me. But we were having fun with it. So that's a cool little gift that her grandma got her that I'm sure she'll play with for years, and so will the new baby as well.
Well, shout out to Kitchens. Let's talk about moving.
Let's talk about moving, Brandon. So obviously moving, I don't think there's anyone out there that loves to move. Moving's not a fun process no matter what. But when you have a kid or kids, there's definitely other challenges. And I think it starts with, at the beginning, you got to figure out why you want to move, right? So that's where it starts. Are you moving because you need more space? Are you moving because you want to go to a better school district? Are you moving because of your job? And you really got to sit and think not only what's best for you, not what's best for your spouse, but also what's best for your children. And based on their age, it can have a big impact on them. So early on, you got to ask yourself, okay, does it make sense for us to move? And what are the impacts going to be on my kids? Luckily for us, Peyton's so small. As far as like it affecting her, I don't think it has much of an impact at all on her at this point, which is nice. Really, one of the main reasons we did move is because we wanted more space for her and the new baby, and we wanted to be a little bit more kid friendly, such as the basement that's now carpeted and has lots of play areas, as opposed to my old basement, which was like concrete floor and had a lot of nice stuff for adults, like a big stone bar, but not super kid friendly, lots of places to get hurt on. So that's kind of step one, I think. And then if you figure out that you do want to move and you have kids, now you got to find the house, make sure it has everything you want in there, and then put yours up for sale probably. And that's kind of where it gets tricky because showing a home with kid or kids is tough because and your house is lived in, but you don't want toys everywhere. You don't want things dirty. And you also need to have the house available to be seen. And if people are watching your kid at your house, that's difficult to do. So now you're moving your kid in and out. So it takes a lot of planning and it takes a lot of constant cleaning, and you probably got to declutter and narrow down the amount of toys you have. That's what we kind of figured out is we started putting away some of our toys and keeping like certain little baskets of toys that she could play with so that you could easily clean them up instead of big things that created bigger messes because you needed to be able to clean up quickly. Do you get what I'm saying, Brandon?
Yeah, I guess a follow-up question for you. Do you feel like those habits are something that you want to take to the new house? Because those sound like things that we're actively trying to do in our lives, just to obviously just declutter anyway. But as you get more room, sometimes it's human nature to fill it with stuff because you can.
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely some habits that we've taken from that, and I think even just like right now she has like 3 different, I would call them like little bins or storage things upstairs where she's got toys in that we can kind of clean up really easily every night. The bigger thing though that we didn't do that we want to do in this house is, like I said, some of the bigger toys that she has or things that you want to put together, we kind of either stalled or put away for a while. So like the kitchen, like I didn't want to bring this kitchen out, until we moved to the new house. And then even we put up one of those little soccer net basketball things like you have for Bryce. We didn't bring that out because it's a little bit bulkier and it gets in, you know what I mean? But I still wanted to play with those things. So that's kind of the stuff that you might want to think about, just because those are harder to, I don't want to say hide when people come walking through the house, but they take up a lot of space. And then you want your house to look, nice and you want it to look how people want to envision it. So some people don't have kids, right? Or they have older kids, and seeing baby toys everywhere doesn't make them go, "Ooh, this house is super nice." It makes them go, "Oh, they start maybe looking more negatively on it." So I don't know, and maybe I'm too much in my head on that, but it was easy for us anyways because we had to pack it. So if we're gonna pack stuff, we're gonna pack the bulkier stuff. We're gonna pack the stuff that maybe had more pieces and stuff like that to it.
So, and I know we're gonna get to some tips for the actual moving in just a little bit, but what were some things that you guys were looking for in the new house? Like specifically, what were maybe your top thing or top two things? I know you mentioned more space.
Yeah, so storage was a big thing. Because when you have kids, like there's a ton of one, you're gonna have toys, you're gonna have stuff, but like especially if you plan on having multiple kids, the clothes alone, Brandon, right? You don't throw them away. You need to save them. So you have bins of clothes. You have toys and books that maybe Bryce outgrows, but you might have another kid, so you don't want to throw them away. It's just a waste of money at that point in time if you do that. So finding a place that had ample storage was key for us. And then also just a place that made sense for how our lifestyle is now and probably going to be for the next 5 years or so made a lot of sense. So what that means is, like I said, my basement now, even though I love my basement in my old house, it's very kid friendly right now. And it has lots of places where you can set things up and kids can play and you don't have to worry. Another thing is our floor plan is very, very open and have a lot of space, so you don't have to worry about like little hidden rooms or tons of baby gates or trying to like move in and out. It's just very, very open. And then also just something simple is like the backyard and surrounding area. So we're in a nice little subdivision, but we don't have people right on top of us. We have good space, and it's in a good place where there's families in this neighborhood and stuff like that, and other kids. So those are big things we thought about. Obviously, another big one is school district, which you always got to think about as well.
Yeah, and for us, things that we're kind of looking for a new house mirror that if we were to move, and we were in the market earlier this year, and part of the reason is because we felt like we have storage rooms, but the main one's in the basement. You also have the ability to use the garage, but everything's subjective, but usable storage is something that you don't necessarily think about, especially us. This is our first house. We're coming from an apartment. We're comparing it to the apartment lifestyle, and it's like it's a far cry from that. But we basically would be looking for the exact same room. Kelsey, or the exact same things you guys are looking. Kelsey absolutely wants like a mud room or an area as you're walking in, which I know you guys have in the new house, where you can like hang up if the kids are coming in from school and they got backpacks, and you can put the shoes there, stuff like that. One thing that I know you guys are running into that you don't necessarily think about, and it's really like the definition of first world problem, but the differences in the stoves. Like Bryce has he loves touching the knobs on our gas stove. I know before you guys had the knobs on the very top, so didn't have to think about it. New house is a little bit different, and they stick out where Peyton can potentially touch it. That's something obviously you can fix by buying a new oven and range, but that's not necessarily something you want to do when you're buying a new house as well. At least I wouldn't. But what I kind of want to get into, if we want to move into the actual moving, are some tips that I ran across, and you have some as well. But one thing that jumped out to me was don't start packing too early, even when you have everything kind of locked in. You mentioned declutter from a selling your house perspective, but the other thing clutter can do, especially if you're talking about multiple boxes, things like that, is present dangerous things for your kid to get a hold of. I know Bryce walks around and he's trying to push over everything. He pulls every chair, and you can come in my house at one point and he'll have a chair like dragged into the living room. He's just into doing that right now. But sometimes you have things that are fragile in the boxes, or things that can topple over and hit your kid. You don't necessarily want to start the packing process super early. Or if you do, make sure you put it away in storage. Another thing that you have is a lot of times we get caught up in working so much that we pack when we can. Take time off if you need to take a day or two or maybe a long weekend to actually get the packing done. Do that so you can put it away. And you're not rushing to do what you need to do. And I know you just did this, but a huge recommendation I would have is hire movers so you can focus on one of you guys watching your kid or maybe even hiring a babysitter for the day while you guys are moving. How do those stack up with what you guys did?
Yeah, for sure. Those are all good pieces of advice. One thing that I did look up, because obviously we have a young child, but some people that are moving with a little bit older children, some tips that you might want to look out for because it's a bigger deal, obviously, when they kind of know what's happening. But that's actually one of the tips is to make sure they do know what's happening if they are able to understand. Talk to them about it, tell them what's going on, include them in part of the process, let them see the new house, let them, walk through it when you guys walk through it a few times, and let them help pack, let them help be a part of it, get them excited about it. So if you have a little bit older kid, those are some good things. Also, if you have an older kid, pack their room last. Let them stay in their comfort zone and their routine, pack their room last, and then when you move into the new house, unpack theirs first. Get their stuff set up, get them excited, get them acclimated in their new atmosphere. But yeah, like you said, for us, Brandon, it was, and even though Peyton was young, it's kind of similar. Peyton's nursery was probably the last room we packed. And then at the new house, it's been one of the first things we did because you need her set up. You need her taken care of. We can handle a lot of the other stuff after the fact, but you want to make sure you know where all her stuff is. You got to have her medicine and her diapers and her changing table and her, she's got so many toys. It's actually something Macy said to me as we were unpacking. She looked at me and said, "How does she have so many toys?" And I was like, "'Cause you buy them." But she does. She has an ungodly amount of toys, but like certain things that she loves, having those readily available are definitely key. And for us, we just found when we were doing it is that if you have, like I said, if you have buckets of toys and you carry them with you as you're packing certain areas or you're doing certain parts of the house, Peyton didn't really notice because, she's playing with the same toys in just a different area. So instead of making it like only in her playroom, you did it in the kitchen while you pack stuff, or you did it in the basement while you pack stuff, or you did it in the spare bedroom while you pack stuff. And so you carried that little chest of toys around that was pretty lightweight toys, but it kept her entertained and happy while you were able to get some stuff done.
Have you had to do much baby proofing all over again in a new house?
Oh my gosh. Well, I put stuff in the outlets, but it's funny because we have a ton of cupboards now, which is great. We have a lot more space in our kitchen, but Peyton is getting in every single thing. So Macy literally is like, she just follows me around and undoes everything I do. So Macy unpacking and putting stuff away, Peyton just undoes it. So she actually just on Amazon, I think last night, bought a bunch of like baby proofing for the cupboards because our baby proofing from the last house wasn't reusable. Like you can't reuse the ones that we had bought in the last house. So these people we bought our new house from actually had 3 kids, and so they had a few things baby proof still, but not many. But they had child locks in their cupboards that Macy really likes, but only on like 2. So I think is trying to find one similar because they work a little bit better. Like our old house had like the magnet system, but these new ones, like you basically can just like kind of open and push down and pull out, and they're actually pretty nice. And they just have them under the sink right now, but I think Macy's trying to find some, so we're going to do some more baby proofing going forward. And then last night too, Brandon, I tried to put up baby gates, and my doorways are different spaces apart. So 2 of my baby gates are worthless, and now I got to figure out what to do. So that's been kind of a nightmare. I got one up.
That's also probably driving you insane.
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy. So I have one that works. And then I have another one I think is going to work for the basement, but we're doing some work down here, so I couldn't put it up yet because we're going up and down with heavy things. It's been a whole thing, but it's moving's a lot, and it can be, I'm sure, as the kids get older, it can be even crazier. But you do things the right way, and you do things for your kids, and then it's worth it in the long run. Like today, playing with Peyton on that kitchen in the basement kind of set up the way that I can envision it being in the future. That was exciting because it's like, yeah, she has this whole little area down here now, and it's nice because it's down here with other things. So like, we have a TV that's going to be down here. We have other spaces, so you can kind of be down here with friends or family and talking, or entertaining yourself a little bit while she's got her whole area, and still be with her and playing with her, and that's fun. I know your basement's kind of set up that way too, which is nice. In my old house, we didn't really have that though.
That's what, when we were kind of redoing how our basement was configured, that's what I wanted. I wanted a place where I can hang out, me and the guys can hang out, but the kids also have their own area that you can see, and it's become a place that Bryce and I hang out all the time, because it might get Kelsey. She may have been hearing him or feeling him on her leg for an hour before I get home, and we can go hang out down there. I can decompress from work, hang out with him, play with him, and it's just a change of scenery. But don't sell your screen short, Jerry. You're not getting a TV installed. You're getting an IMAX screen put on that wall.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that, but you'll have to see it. But yeah, Brandon, if there's one thing that you can take from this episode, if you're thinking about moving soon, is try to
don't.
Yeah, don't. But yeah, try to utilize the help and the support system that you have, because I will tell you that most of the packing and unpacking that we've gotten done was when we had someone who came over and like watched Peyton for an hour or two while me and Macy were able to work. Because honestly, trying to do it with her was very, very difficult if we weren't both home. And if we were both home, then one of us basically couldn't be helping. We'd basically had to watch Peyton. So when Grandma or Grandpa could come watch Peyton for an hour or two, we got a ton done. And same thing when you're moving. And then if you can do it, like you said, movers, because same thing. It's hard to do in general, but it's even harder if you're trying to watch your kid too and deal with that and like keep them safe. It's a lot. So if you have help, don't be shy. Use it.
Or just find Miss Rachel on YouTube and put your kid in front of that for an hour.
Yeah,
that works too.
I don't know. It doesn't. We've had not great luck lately with trying to do anything to keep Peyton away from either me or Macy while we get stuff done. Like she does not do well with that. But when Grandma's here, she does better. So we've utilized that for a few times. So we definitely owe lots of thanks to the grandmas in both our sides.
Shout out to the grandmas.
Shout out to the grandmas. Well, Brandon, yeah, go ahead. Go, Brandon.
I was going to give one other thing that jumped out at me in the research, and it's boxing up the non-essentials first, and then boxing up the baby essentials to take with you, because you don't want to fall into the mistake of you put all the pacifiers away because you wanted to, or you just left 2 out for yourself. Put the bottles away if you need them. Be strategic in doing that as well.
Yeah, actually, one thing I just thought of while you were saying that is we did a lot of the packing. So we did all the packing ourselves except for the big stuff. And then I was unloading it at the new house because we had the keys a few weeks before we had to move out of our old house. So I was unloading it every morning into the new house on my way to work. And we stacked up tons and tons of boxes in the garage, right? And we marked the boxes, which is smart. Definitely mark your boxes of what they are in big writing so you can see it on multiple sides. That's one definitely tip. But another tip that I didn't do that I wish I would have is when I was putting stuff in the garage, I didn't think about when I would need to pull it out. So the stuff I packed first, even though most of the stuff I packed first was the stuff that was the least essential, so it worked out okay, is hard to get to now because it's behind so many other boxes. If there is a few things in there that I need, it's tough to get to it. And then the other thing is when you're packing, you're going to have the urge to just throw some random stuff in from time to time, just like, oh, this can fit in there. I'll throw this in there with the dishes, or I'll throw this in there with these towels. The problem is that if you need something, it's going to be hard or a long time till you find it. For example, I needed headphones tonight to record, and I can't find them anywhere, Brandon. So I'm using Macy's headphones right now.
I was wondering where you're going there. I could tell you're going somewhere.
Yeah, so I could not find my headphones. No idea where they're at. I couldn't find the Allen wrenches for the Peloton the other day, too. So I was trying to figure out. I thought I left them at the house because I couldn't figure out where they were. We finally found those. But there's going to be stuff you lose. But if you can try to think about when you're going to unpack, when you're unloading stuff, it will help you, I guess is my point. So like if you're unloading it in a garage or putting them straight into rooms, think about it, because otherwise you're going to be searching like we are right now for random stuff all the time.
And before Jerry wraps this up, if anybody else is super bothered by the way he pronounces unpacked or unloading, please send us a message to the Dad Jokes Podcast on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah.
I want to hear from you.
Brandon hates that. Brandon hates the way I say lots of different words. So if you're on his team, let me know what words you hate that I say. But he likes to point them out.
Yeah, if you're on
daily.
My team, you said it the right way. You didn't say if you were on my team.
All right, Brandon. Well, I have a dad joke for you. Actually, it's not my PG-13 one. I'm going to save that one. This one is just a good dad joke.
You must not have felt strongly about that.
No, I don't want to mess it up,
on.
and I have it written down, but it's upstairs. So this is a good joke, though, Brandon. So did you know that French fries weren't first cooked in France?
I think I heard this one, but no.
They're actually cooked in Greece.
Actually, I have heard that, but it's not. I don't think it was on this podcast. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I'm a fan of that joke.
That's a good joke. So
that's a Kevin Lang joke for
yes.
everyone listening who has no idea who that is. Somebody we work with.
Yes, that's a very good joke, and very much like him. But Brandon, yes. Long story short, we're all moved in. It was months in the process. It's been kind of crazy. I will tell you, even though you're moved in and it does feel great, we're definitely not over the hurdle because there's still tons and tons of stuff to unpack. But it is, at least now when we're unpacking
Super Bowl
stuff.
party at the Aleski's.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now at least when we're unpacking, you're putting stuff where it's going to be, so it feels good. It's kind of like when you go on vacation and you get there. And so when you're packing to go there, it's a lot more exciting than when you're unpacking when you get back. It's kind of the opposite here. It's more exciting unpacking than it is packing. So I'm excited that we're finally in the house. I'm excited that I'm recording in the basement and that my Wi-Fi is actually working, because that's been the whole thing. So, but for anyone out there who hasn't already, please like us on Facebook, on Instagram, on all our social media pages. Please tell your friends about us. Please comment and let us know if you have anything you want us to talk about. We'd love to have you on the show or to talk about the topics you guys think are important. But for Brandon and for myself, the dad of 2 girls now, #GirlDad, you've been listening to Dad Jokes.